In honor of Exquisite Corpse poems, we have a visitor. This is the visitor, La Llorona. And she is here to offer inspiration. La Llorona belongs to Beatlik Press's Deb Coy. I don't know if you know Beatlik Press. They published an anthology called La Llorona, and it was a winner in the New Mexico-Arizona Book Awards. And I have had the pleasure of taking her with me to a few La Llorona readings for Halloween. And it's been strange, but people love it. Okay. Except she's not going to be happy when the hand comes back separated, but that's another story. Today, we're doing a tradition that started way back as a parlor game that evolved in the 20th century to become known as Exquisite Corpse. Exquisite Corpse, also known as Exquisite Cadaver, is a method by which a collection of words or images is collectively assembled. Each collaborator adds to a composition in sequence, either by following a rule like an adjective, noun, verb, etc., or by being allowed to see only the end of what the previous comment was. The technique was invented by the Surrealists and is similar to an old parlor game called Consequences, in which players write in turn on a sheet of paper, fold the paper to conceal part of the writing, then pass it to the next player for further contribution. That's interesting. Did you see that, Moth? Okay. So I'm finding my place here. Surrealism's principal founder, Audrey Breton, said that the diversion started around 1925. Later, the game was adapted to drawing and collage, producing a result similar to children's books, in which the pages were cut into thirds, the top third showing the head of a person or animal, the middle third the torso, and the bottom third the legs, with the children having the ability to mix and match. You've probably seen those before, okay? So Jeanne is going to read a couple of poems that are considered Exquisite Corpse, just to give you an idea of what they sound like.
And before I do that, I have to throw in one other little comment because I want an excuse to say some words in French. The name comes from a French phrase, le cadavre exquis boira le vin nouveau. The exquisite corpse shall drink the new wine. Since I studied French a long time ago, I figured I have to find a way to use it once in a while. And I will read a couple of Exquisite Corpse poems that were created in a workshop under the auspices of Jules Nyquist and her Poetry Playhouse. Last summer we got together at an art gallery downtown, and it was raining cats and dogs, and you'll see rain mentioned in some of the lines. And this particular Exquisite Corpse, the authors are Karen Bradbury, Iris Gersh, Susan Paquette, and yours truly. Giclée prints spread out their colors, dissolving, making puddles of colors, run like hot blood, crawl through caverns, catapult stalactites. It was an odd way to try to slay a monster, but legends never die. They keep coming back, never sure of their destination, always packed for any season. The sound of rain without water pounds through the ceiling. The river is at flood stage. If it rains anymore, the whole Gulf will flood. Oh dear, will New Mexico become Texas with big hats, shiny buckles, and boots with 4-inch heels? Red sequined long gloves pulled off finger by finger. She lit a cigarette and owned him, lock, stock, and barrel. And nothing at all remained, not the shoe, not the hat, not even her gloves. She was entirely nude, covered in silver stardust. And another one. The authors of this one are Scott Wigerman, Nikki Arenhoff, Tina Carlson, Susie Crandall, and John Roche. Dragon voice hides beneath flowers. Petals start to sing a song of fire. The jewel is not in the center. It's in the mouth of the monster. Spit and dreams fly everywhere. Flecks of furious cloud spit disturb the cosmos. Turn each leaf into a note, a key. Minors, a plus. Rip your heart out. Shopping online for +0 size panties that catch in the snatch of the mitt. Brewing another batch of poems for the waiting traffic jam. On toast, butter dripping like the last time I made love. Bread is a taste of childhood swims. Sea monsters spit in hot water. Oh God, I'm not swimming in that. Amoeba everywhere, fluorescent and bold. Ambient amoebas alert the aurora borealis. The world is losing its seas. Send us light. Luminescence lights deepest seas. And in the depths of the permafrost, the egg leaks its golden juices. A joke of a yolk equals yogic joy. The eye of an egg is always open, blinking at the melting clock, thinking about his hands on her, furry, tender, and electric. Electric fur zaps cartoon cat.
Okay, so that's the surrealistic aspect of poetry. And you can imagine, because, well, I'll tell you why it turned out like that in a minute. All right. Before we begin, though, we're going to show you another technique called color poems. And both of these techniques are designed to help open the right brain so that you're not necessarily thinking literally. Literally, is that how you pronounce it? But you think in short segments and phrases, and you're only going to see one line. That's why we have this paper, which I'll explain. So all these poems were written because the person only saw a line, one line, in front of them, and responded to that. They had no idea what the prior lines were. Jeanne's going to read a few color poems, and when we do the exercise, we're going to do both at the same time. You'll see how.
This handout is on your table. There should be enough for everybody to grab a copy, but if anyone needs an extra copy, I have more. And Blue is All is a poem I found on a poetry blog, and the author, the blogger, preferred to remain anonymous. And it's a poem that uses the 5 senses and also equates the color blue with emotions, the color of love, lonesome. Blue is a Rocky Mountain bluebird in flight. Blue is the sound a sunny day makes. Blue smells like a blueberry. Blue tastes like blue moon ice cream. Blue feels like a hammock ready to swing in during the summer. Blue is the color of love in my husband's eyes. Blue is a blue Merle collie barking on a foggy spring morning. Blue feels snug like my jeans. Blue is the lid of peanut butter for the kids' breakfast. Blue is a pen I like to write with. Blue is a robin's egg and the promise of new life. Blue rose bushes are the promise of summer to come. Blue is the passion when giving and receiving a blue diamond. Blue is the ocean as big as God's love. Blue is the lonesome sound of a steam engine. Blue is the bluebells, delicate as life itself. Blue tastes like mint, my toothpaste when I go to bed. And another poem, which is a bit more complex and takes a somewhat different approach, is a poem by a very well-known poet, Charles Wright, who happens to be my favorite poet, my favorite living poet. So I had to get in something by Charles Wright. This is called Yellow. Yellow is for regret, the distal, the second hand, the grasshopper's wing, that yellow, the slur of dust. Backlight, the yellow of loneliness, the yellow of animals, their yellow eyes, the holy yellow of death, intuitive yellow, the yellow of air, The double yellow telling who comes and goes. The yellow of yellow hammers, one drop of the devil's blood. The yellow of what is past. Yellow of wormwood, yellow of straw, the yellow of circuits, the yellow beneath the skin, the yellow of pencils, their black veins, amaranth yellow, bright bloom, the yellow of sulfur, the finger, the road home. So,
Thank you, Jeanne. And what we're going to do is, I'll explain how we're going to be doing this, because originally we were hoping you would sit all in groups so we'd have 5 or 6 people at a table. It's up to how you want to do this, because it require you don't have to move, because we came up with another idea. Basically, somebody grabbed this fan paper that I got to fold in front of the television set, because I did a bunch of them, okay? So find the fan paper on your table. Somebody hold it up. Everyone, okay, open it up. And there should be a number 1 on one of the sides. Okay, so open it all the way. Okay, and then grab the other sheet of paper that has the writing prompts on it. And I don't have one in front of me, but that's it. I think that's it over there, okay? So that same person hold that paper up. It has phrases that Jeanne put together for Exquisite Corpse prompts. So you have each one of those, right? Okay, so if we were to have done it with 5 or 6 people, you would start with the person who would be the first person, number 1, and they will choose one of the prompts and put a check by it so we don't use it again, but don't let anyone else see it. And don't start yet, okay? But you will be the first person to print neatly so we can read it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The prompt. So number 1 actually chooses a prompt from that prompt sheet and prints it on the number 1 fan part, okay?
What's the prompt sheet look like?
Yeah, there's lots of stuff on the table. Okay, so I'm going to pretend like I'm writing number 1. Okay, so I've written something. Then you'll pass it to the next person. You're going to go around. Now, if there's only 2 of you, you'll just go back and forth. That's fine if you want to do that. That's what Jeanne and I did at Flying Star. And that was fine. We had a lot of fun. If there's 2, 3, okay, so the people at the back, you really can't do it sitting back there. You need to sit at a table, or you can just watch. It's up to you. And there's no pressure. It's just let yourself enjoy it. So, do you want to come to a table? If not, you can just sit there and do the color poem, which is also something we're going to work on, and I'll explain that in a minute. Okay. Well, don't do it yet. Don't start anything. Yeah, I'll tell you. I'm just giving you the formality, okay? Since we only have 40 minutes, and we wanted to have something for the people to do who are not writing, because it takes time to think of a response. Let's pretend like I wrote, "The world is blue." Let's just pretend. Then the next person has to write a phrase, okay? They fold the top one. The second person writes something in response to whatever, "The world is blue." When they're done, they fold it. The third person writes a response to this, and you fold it. The next person writes a response to this, and you fold it, and keep going down. Then you can use the back if you have time. So the 1 indicates the beginning of the poem. And while we're doing that, the people who haven't had a chance to work on this, because it's going to take a little time for people to think of what they want to write, you can begin the color poem. So do you have something to write with? A piece of blank paper or something? You can use the back of one of the handouts. And choose a color that you're going to write about. And at least start it now so you know what you're going to work on. So if you want to say purple, which happens to be the one I wrote about when I did this exercise, you can say purple is, and then you can start talking about what it is. Anything that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be complete sentences. It can be phrases. It can be what purple feels, what it wears, what it reminds you of, where it lives. Think of it almost like a persona, or you can just say purple is the color of grapes. I don't care, whatever comes out. It's your right brain. Don't censor. So you'll have 2 activities to do. Rose Kern said that she wants to publish some of these in next month's Sage. So if you feel good when we're finished, you'll write your name at the top of the poem, and then we'll figure out a way to get your names for the Exquisite Corpse poems also. Questions?
I just want to make sure I understand. Now, you've got the prompt sheet. So here's number 1. Write the prompt here.
No. Oh, on the top, yeah. Right. Choose any of the prompts you want, and then check it up. Yeah. And then you print it here on number 1.
Right.
And then the next person next to you writes a response, and then after that you fold, and then you only get to see what the person before you wrote, and then you write something and you fold. And then if you want, you can go around the back, or you can stop when you guys are done and work on your color poems. Does that make sense? Okay, and if you have questions, just raise your hand and we'll come around. Okay, so how did that feel to people? I think the music really added to it. I'm glad that Larry could do this. So now we have people who would like to come up to the mic and read either the Exquisite Corpse poem or their color poem. Do we have any volunteers? Yes, I don't know names, so I will introduce you when you come up. Oh, then why don't you introduce yourself? How's that?
I'm Jay Brooks. An artist throws paint at an easel. His eyes focus on the orange spot. The orange is the one I brought here. My words taste like orange spice until I hear the chime on the microwave.
Okay, Dennis. Introduce yourself first and last name, okay?
Oh.
Thank you.
Dennis Kassendike, you saw me earlier. Periwinkle does a slow dance in her quiet gaze. It contemplates the setting of the sun, while grass blades bend in a fanning breeze. And she thinks she might see him climbing toward her now, from far below, while dreaming of the periwinkle in her quiet haze.
Is there anyone who would brave an Exquisite Corpse poem? Don, tell me what...
Half of ours read.
I only read one.
Was that the Exquisite Corpse poem?
Yeah, I read one side of the page. I didn't realize.
Oh, come up and read the back. That was amazing. Wow. And then who would be next? Who wants to read? Don, do you want to read? Or who else would like to? Okay, yes. I forgot your name, but introduce yourself when you come up. They're still looking on the back. I know, it's a little, I was confused too. You don't know how long it took me to figure this out, so.
That was really amazing.
An artist throws paint at an easel. His eyes focus on the orange spot. The orange is the one I brought here. My words taste like orange spice until I hear the chime on the microwave. Then I can enjoy gratin with my friend and blend our evening into bliss only when our bodies touch. We feel so happy and laughter rises like a bird.
That is amazing.
Okay, I have a good idea which I'll share in a minute. I didn't know they were going to be this good.
Is it okay if I do both?
Yes, but say your name and first and last name.
My name's Dan Wetmore, and I wrote about black and then green. Black is licorice sweet, the hue of hushing, quieting, the color which is not, the absence somehow a presence, the monumental of before, the overwhelming of after, its one vowel sound, understandably shared with alpha and omega. It is the night, the solitary, the still unsundering, and resonance with the all at hiding, the whole awaiting, the blood of my stylus, stigmata of my soul. Green is my envy of green's garb, its lush cooing and sidelong conspiratorial eyes inviting my surrender, an unabashed entreaty to be with it always, in verdant Edenic splendor. No sin to this, no expulsion possible from a presence so pure as your eyes hue the sea foam tide which rocks me still.
Okay, who else would like to read? Arlene?
And say your first and last name.
I got a bunch of romantics sitting on our table. The clock is upside down, surreal as if time is frozen, like a sunset permanently captured on canvas, a moment frozen in time, a moment unforgettable and rich, a time to be relived as long as life remains. A piece of driftwood washed onto the ocean shore, resembling a pony in flight, dancing and playing amid early spring wildflowers, barefoot and carefree, our hearts once again free, like the wind in the willows, the foaming dance of water among the seaside rocks.
Okay, who else would like to come up? And first and last name, please.
I'm David Gruber. A little table back there. All right. The clock is upside down. Phineas Duck withheld a frown. It was the 47th frown he'd withheld that week alone. Smiles in dirty underwear and drizzling tears, held for moments by shaggy suspenders. Ah, love has strange clothes, which cannot hide its bare soul, and turns the clock aright again. Without a veil is spring into night, and day takes flight, the ribbons of sunrise shimmering, with the ants and the rabbits looking on.
We have time for a couple of more.
Hi, I'm Ellen Welker, Rob Spiegel, Robert Staub, partners in crime here. The man is walking a white dog on the beach, searching for a person, a lost time, a feeling, of sad fields where children played before the war. Mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers call out, no answer, all is lost. Boxcars, flat cars, lights and guards, where are they? They come home again to settle their grievances, their thirst, craving the justice of equality,
to drink the wine of freedom. They come in their hundreds, their thousands, only a promise to their children left to keep. But children know little of promises and less of night. Return to linger, feeling the waves and listening to the dog bark, telling them they're home at last.
Someone else had their hand up. Rob, do you want to read one?
I have a color one, Easter egg green. The eggs of the feral chicken hiding in the south field, the taste of last fall's dried grass, the green so easily mistaken for an orphan, the long afternoon of forgotten lips, my dog's puffy exhale. On Saturday afternoon, I discovered my first Easter egg green, mistakenly wandering home, not my home, in a field, the last of many, my old hope. Sometimes I remember how much it mattered, but mostly I move on to the blue or the pale shades of lavender. On Easter, it becomes obvious I'm not a Christian. But that chalky green is far from obvious. It grieves for no one, over and over.
Who hasn't done it yet? Irene?
Mine is a short blue one. Thank you for the blue prompt. Blue is the turquoise of a New Mexico sky and the robin's egg in spring. Blue is the tail of the blue-tailed lizard that suns on my favorite rock. Blue is the blue marble that is the earth and what was left deep when my youngest sister died.
Somebody back there said
I think this will be the last one because we have a couple of other things to talk about.
Okay. So, my name's David Williams, and I wanted to tell you that when I was 20 or 22, something like that, my roommate and I did this without knowing what we were doing, and it'd be 3 in the morning, sometimes beer was involved, and we would just be crying laughing. It was just the funniest thing in the world. Anyway, this is our performing. We'll make sure. Oh, okay. A jazz trio plays every evening. Beautiful songs that make us cry, and when I cry, my nose runs. I only cry when I hear sad piano music. It makes me dream about my future, and the future involves furniture and food processors. Prediction is tricky, especially when it involves the future. But it's the mystery that makes the beauty of life, along with cute puppies and just a touch of makeup that's so cute and wonderful for all eternity, which is like pretty long.
Thank you. So what I'm thinking about now is that these are so good that I think Rose probably would put most of them in. And rather than you giving them to me, here's an idea.